Hello everyone. Hope you have done your exam very well. Today we will be discussing UPSC Prelims 2025 question paper, and the specific topic of our discussion will be science and technology, right? So we will be discussing science and technology part from the general studies paper 1. This is basically set A, right? We'll start with our discussion. As far as science and technology is concerned, the first question that we have is question number 46. So we'll start with that in set A, as we have already discussed, right? So we'll see the questions, we'll also see the explanation, we'll get to the answer, and also wherever possible, I will be providing the links, like the news links from where this question has come. Like most of the questions, are linked to the current affairs, right? So from when it was in the news, and also I'll give the links of popular newspapers like Hindu, Express, or Times of India, because most of the aspirants are reading such newspapers. So I'll be giving links from where this question was asked at the end of the question or at the end of the explanation, right? So we'll start with the discussion. The first thing we have is question number 46, right? So the first thing we have is question number 46. Let's go through that. What is a common characteristic of chemical substances generally known as Cl20, HMX, and LLM105, which are sometimes talked about in the media? So three chemical substances have been given, that is Cl20, HMX, and LLM105. Now, what are these chemical substances? And they are also recently in media. What is the common characteristic of all the three? So there should be something common. Now let's go to the options and we'll see what options we have. These are alternatives to hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants, right? So first thing is hydrofluorocarbons. Does it sound somewhere linking hydrofluorocarbons? See, hydrofluorocarbons are something related to environment, global warming. Means most of the time we see this thing in news related to that. And refrigerants are specifically, it will be something like starting with R. So mostly we don't see that option A should be somewhere linking, right? We'll just set aside option A. We'll go to the option B. We see there are explosives. These are explosives in military weapons. For time being, let's consider explosives, because what we see is, HMX. See, Cl20 might not sound you. LLM105 might be very new to you. But HMX is, somewhere it's linking to RDX. Let us just consider, okay? And let us eliminate, if possible, any other options that we can see. Option C, if we see, these are high energy fuels for cruise missiles. So when we say cruise missile, generally use a different type of propellants, because high energy fuels, as discussed, generally solid fuels or liquid fuels, such type of things will be there. But the Cl20 or LLM105, this is not ringing any bells here. Like coming to option D, these are propulsion fuels for rockets. The same thing is happening. Cruise missile fuels and again propulsion fuels is given. So we can easily eliminate option C and option D. So what we can do is we can easily eliminate option D. We can easily eliminate option C. And also we can eliminate option A, because hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants are something different. So what is remaining is these are military weapons, and that is indeed the right answer. If we go into explanation as well, we see that Cl20, HMX, LLM105, these are basically high energy explosives, primarily military applications. So what we are seeing is primarily military applications, and they are known for high detonation velocity. So see, military applications is what they are practically used in, and also high energy explosives that we can clearly see, right? And also I have provided details of all these things, right? Like, what is Cl20? It's one of the most powerful non-nuclear explosives. This is developed by United States Navy in 1980, right? Again, advanced military munitions. Munitions is something like bombs and etc. What is HMX? Like we have already seen earlier, I have given you a link. HMX is somewhere ringing bells with RDX. So we can clearly see this thing. That's also a kind of explosive. So right, a powerful nitroamine high explosive. What is that? HMX stands for high melting explosive. It's also called as octogen, right? Basically used in nuclear weapons, plastic explosives and such, right? Again, more energetic when compared to RDX. Now we'll see LLM 105, right? It's a newer high explosive developed by Lawrence Livermore. What we can see here is that Lawrence Livermore. So LLM generally stands for Lawrence Livermore. It's a lab, basically name of a lab where this particular explosive was developed. So what we can see, all these three are explosives basically, right? And therefore option B. So what we can see is the correct option is these are explosives in military weapons. So correct answer is option B, right? I have also included some additional information related to what hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants are. Like generally hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants like hydrogen, fluorine or carbon, as it is given in the name. So H, F or C symbols should have been there ideally, but we don't see any such thing. And refrigerants, generally what we see is R134A or R32, something like that, is generally refrigerants are denoted in such numbers. So this definitely is an incorrect option, right? Hydrofluoroolefins are also there, which can also be sometimes see when we see the option alternatives to hydrofluorocarbons. So what are the alternatives I have given here, right? Generally alternatives to hydrofluorocarbons are something like hydrofluoroolefins. This is also something that we go through many times in our environment. When your environment classes happen, I hope you have gone through this thing in those classes. Ammonia and carbon dioxide also can be seen as alternatives, right? So clearly, CL20, HMX, LLM5 are not used in cooling systems. They have no environmental role that can be seen. Therefore, that's an incorrect option. High energy fuels for cruise missiles. What we see is that generally something like solid propellants or liquid fuels, kerosene or hydrazine. Right. This is what generally we see. Therefore, we have eliminated this option as well. And propulsion fuels, definitely here also we can see they are not rocket fuels, because liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen is what you see generally as far as part of propulsions for rockets or propulsions for even missiles that we generally see, right? So here I have provided a news link. This is a very recent news, and you can click, or you can enter this URL, and mostly I'll try to provide these links in the YouTube video as well. In the comment section or somewhere you'll definitely find these things, so you can go and check the news. And I hope you have understood this question, right? So we have answer as option B, right? These are explosives in military weapons. Now let's go to the next question, question number 47. So consider the following statements. Now what are the statements? Now statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. So a standard UPSC question where statements are given, and now we have to select which of the statements are correct, right? So first statement, it is expected that Majorana 1 chip will enable quantum computing. So somewhere we are stepping into the zone of quantum computings or artificial intelligence, something we can say, right? Because this is definitely part of science and technology, right? Then Majorana 1 chip has been introduced by Amazon Web Services. AWS is what is called as Amazon Web Services. Now, third statement is deep learning is a subset of machine learning, right? Three things. So, deep learning, see, when we have discussed classes related to science and technology, we have definitely seen machine learning, we have seen artificial intelligence, we have also seen deep learning, right? So, option 3 is what is definitely right. We can definitely go with the option 3. Deep learning is subset of machine learning. This has to be correct. That's it. This has to be correct, right? Let's see what is being asked. Which of the statements given above are correct? Which of the statements given above are correct? So now we have to find the correct statements. Now what we have seen is option 3 is definitely correct. Now all those options which do not have option 3 can be eliminated. So option A we can easily eliminate because option 3 is not there. This thing we have discussed in our classrooms definitely. Now second thing is, if you have followed a bit of current affairs, right? If you have followed a bit of current affairs, Majorana 1 chip was in news just 2 to 3 months before the prelims examination, maybe in Feb or something like that. It was introduced by Microsoft, right? It was introduced by Microsoft. So Majorana 1 chip is not related to Amazon Web Services. So if you have followed current affairs, definitely you can eliminate option 2. So option 2 is definitely not correct. So when you have one option that is definitely correct, another option that is definitely wrong, we'll just check with the other options. So because option 2 is wrong, we can eliminate options with option 2. So option B is eliminated, and option D, because again 2 is present here, option D can also be eliminated. So what remains is option C, right? So for this question, option C is the right answer, right? If we go through the explanation, we will find the same things, right? What is statement 1? Majorana 1 chip. Now we can see here that statement 1 is correct because it's a quantum processor prototype developed by Microsoft and not AWS, definitely. And also it's based on Majorana 0 modes and topological qubits. Now qubits also we have discussed in class, right? And this is indeed expected to enable advancements in quantum computing. Now we'll go to the statement 2, which we already seen was wrong, right? We have already ruled it out as a wrong statement because it is developed by Microsoft, right, as part of Azure quantum program. So Microsoft is having a program called as Azure quantum program. So this particular Majorana 1 chip is part of that program, right? Microsoft, not Amazon Web Services or AWS. So AWS, then what is about AWS? AWS is having something called as Bracket. AWS Bracket is Amazon's quantum service, right? So Bracket was in news recently, and Majorana 1 also was in news, and therefore we can easily rule out that AWS is not related to Majorana 1, right? Next, if we see the statement 3, we can say deep learning is a subset of machine learning. Definitely we have discussed this thing in class. Deep learning is definitely a subset of machine learning. It's correct, right? And also machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence. We have also seen this thing in our classroom, right? So therefore statement 3 is correct, and answer will be C, 1 and 3 statements. Option C, 1 and 3. Option C, 1 and 3. This is the right answer for question number 47. Right? I hope you understood this. Next, we'll move out to another question. Question number 48. Now, this is another concept related to monoclonal antibodies. Now, let's go through the question. Right, with reference to monoclonal antibodies often mentioned in news, consider the following statements. Again, a standard UPSC question. Now, what are the statements? We'll see. They are man-made proteins. They stimulate immunological function due to their ability to bind to specific antigens. Right, now third statement is they are used in treating viral infections like that of Nipah virus. So in our science and technology classes, one thing that we have discussed is cloning, right? One thing that we have discussed is cloning, and cloning is something definitely artificial. Cloning is not a natural process. Cloning is definitely an artificial process, definitely man-made. So one thing we can be sure of, that they are definitely man-made proteins, right? What is the actual question? Now we'll go to that. Which of the statements given above are correct? So we need to find the correct statements, and one statement is definitely, we have pointed out that it is a correct statement, right? Now next, what we can see is the second statement. They stimulate immunological functions due to their ability to bind to specific antigens, right? We'll just consider this thing to some extent. Now we'll go to the third statement. They're used in treating viral infections like that of Nipah virus. See, the statement 3 is definitely correct because again this thing was there in news. This thing was covered in current affairs. This thing was there in news 3 to 4 months before the prelims examination. I have provided the news link. You can go and check the news link, right? So statement 3 is also definitely right. So first statement is right, and third statement is right. So therefore, surely we can eliminate option A because there is no mention of third statement. We can eliminate option B because there is no mention of a first statement, right? Now we have option C and D. Whenever we are left with two options, we should definitely attempt that question, right? Because there are 50-50 chances of getting correct. Now, second statement that they stimulate immunological function due to their ability to bind to specific antigens. This is also right. Right, the second statement is also right, which which brings us to the option D. That is, all three statements are right. So option D is the right answer for this question. If we go through the explanation, you will find that definitely statement 1, monoclonal antibodies are definitely laboratory made proteins, right? And they are designed to mimic the immune system's ability to fight the harmful pathogens. Definitely rightly pointed it as correct thing. Now next, they are made by cloning a single white blood cell and are identical copies, therefore it is termed as monoclonal, right? Now coming to statement 2, they stimulate immunological functions due to their ability to bind to specific antigens. Now this part many of you might not be knowing, but again, this thing was also covered in the newspaper as part of current affairs. The news link is provided. So, monoclonal antibodies are designed to bind specifically to a particular antigen. Now, this binding can block the pathogen and trigger the immune response. So, therefore, definitely the statement 2 is also correct. Coming to statement 3, they are used in treating viral infections. Yeah, this statement is also true, like Ebola, COVID-19, Nipah virus. Various types of viruses are being treated. And again, in 2023 also we have seen reports that India is exploring this particular antibody therapy for Nipah outbreaks, because in Kerala a lot of times in the past also we have seen that Nipah virus outbreak was happening. So definitely we see that all the three options are right. Option 1, option 2 and option 3, like statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3 are right. Therefore the answer will be D, that is, all the three statements are correct. Right, see, news link is provided here, you can check with the news link. Now we'll be going to next question, that is question number 49. Now we will see, we'll go through the question and we'll try to consider the options. Right, first one, what we see here is so consider the following statements. Now what we see, no virus can survive in ocean water. So this is something related to virus, right? No virus can survive in ocean waters, that's the statement 1. No virus can infect bacteria, that's the statement 2. And no virus can change the cellular transcriptional activity in a host cell, that's the statement 3. Students, those who have attended the classroom program, they know that we have discussed regarding viruses. One thing regarding virus that we have discussed, see, virus, bacteria and fungus, these things we have discussed in classroom, and also we have seen the differences as well. So when we discussed virus, we have seen that virus is neither a living thing, okay, and neither a non-living thing. So it is somewhere in between, neither living, neither non-living thing, right? What we have discussed is that it's a sort of program. Basically, it's a sort of thing. When it comes into contact with living beings, right? Once it comes into contact with living things, it gets activated. Means whenever the virus comes into contact with any of the living thing, it gets activated. So this is what we have discussed in the classroom, right? So with our discussional background, what we can see, when the first statement we see, no virus can survive in ocean waters. See, there is nothing about survivability of the virus, right? Whenever it comes into contact with living things, it gets activated. So definitely viruses can survive in ocean waters. Viruses can survive. So the statement 1 is wrong. Right, now coming to statement 2, no virus can infect bacteria. Again, the discussions that we have seen, virus is something that becomes activated when it comes in contact with a living thing. Now bacteria is definitely a living thing, so virus can infect bacteria. So no virus can infect bacteria. Again, this is also a wrong statement. The third thing, if you see, no virus can change the cellular transcriptional activity in a host cell. See, viruses are designed, basic nature of virus is to alter. Whenever it enters into the DNA or RNA, it tries to alter the program there, right? Definitely no viruses can change the cellular transcriptional activity. No, definitely they can change. So actually viruses can change the cellular transcriptional activity in a host cell. So because no is given, the third statement is also incorrect. Now let's go to what is the demand of the question. Now how many statements given above are correct, right? Now are correct only one statement, only two statement, all the three statements are correct, and none is correct. So we can easily rule out, right? We can easily rule out the options based on the discussions in the classroom that we have already had. We can see clearly that option D is the right answer. That is, none of the given statements above are correct. If suppose here incorrect was given, so this is very important to check whether correct is given or incorrect is given. If incorrect would have been given, then all three would have been the answer, right? So the same thing, if we go through the explanations, we can see statement 1, no virus can survive in ocean waters. This is factually wrong. Definitely viruses are abundant in ocean. Even there are many types of marine viruses as well. Now next, going to the statement 2, no virus can infect bacteria. That's also wrong, because viruses definitely can infect bacteria, right? Something called as bacteriophages is already there. Next, statement 3, we can see viruses definitely alter the host cell's transcriptional machinery. A lot of viruses like HIV, HOPS, and influenza, even COVID also does the same thing. Therefore, none of the statements are correct. Answer is option D. There is no news activity for this, because this is directly from the syllabus or directly from the classroom discussions. So I have not provided any news link over here.